Let's create an example of classes and objects. So C#, console application. I'm going to call this one Test Hockey Player and click OK. Got a namespace called Test Hockey Player. By default, the name is the name of the class is Program. I'm going to rename and call that Hockey Player. Apply that. And what I'm going to do is create an object out of the hockey class. And I haven't created the hockey class yet, so it's going to give me a red squiggly line. And will it even let me? Yeah. And I'll call this one Player 1. And new, call the constructor. Okay, let me see if I can do a shortcut on here. And the namespace of hockey could not be found. You're missing a show potential fixes. Yeah, let's see what the potential fixes are. Generate a class hockey in a new file. Generate class hockey. How about if I do this? Generate a class called hockey. Okay. And I don't need internal. I'll just... Okay. So there's a class hockey that it creates. And I'll work on that in a bit. So, hockey player, what am I going to do with that? Well, for now, let's go work on the hockey class that we created. So, inside of namespace, there are now two classes. One called hockey player, which is our driver. In other words, this has the main method in it. And the other, which is a class that we've created, which we're going to create objects from, which is called hockey. And let's see what type of properties we're going to add to this. And let's create a property called, let's do the shortcut, PROP, tab. This one is a string, and we call it, player name. The next one is, tab. The next one is an integer, and the name is going to be jersey number. Okay, and the last one, prop tab is going to be an integer, and the name of this is going to be goals scored. Okay. And I think those are descriptive enough. I'm not going to put any comments in there, so I don't need that as a reference anymore. Okay, so now that I've got those, let's do a method. Let's do a constructor. And in our constructor, constructor is the same name as the class, so hockey. And let's see. Let's do it to a void method called display stats, and in here what we're going to do is just let's display name, jersey, and goals. Okay. So first is name, whatever the player's name is, and we'll get that value. What is it? Jersey number? This class is jersey. I don't have to put this. Jersey number. And this, what was the last thing? Goals scored. Goals scored. Okay. Well, that's it. That's it. Let's go back and see what we've got here. Okay, so we have our class named hockey, and inside it we've got a constructor which really doesn't do anything, just to show you that we can put a constructor in there. We have 3 properties set, so this is a little different from the book. They do the long way, where they have a variable and then they set those variable values. I'm going to do it directly, and then we've got a method in here, display stats. Okay, and that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and collapse this down. So that's our hockey class. That's everything we need in there. Okay, so here we've made the hockey player. We created a, let's see, hockey. Okay, let's put public on here. Okay. So just to be sure. Yeah, alright. And what else? Let me collapse this back down. Okay, so new hockey player, and let's go ahead and set those values. So let's set player 1 and change. Now you notice that we have access to all those properties. Let's change the player name and set that to some player, and player 1, and what's the other one? Jersey number. Whoops. Jersey number, and set that to jersey number. What's Ronaldo's number? 7. Okay. Player 1 and goals scored. Now these would be coming from a database normally, but we're hard coding these in, and say there are 5 goals scored. Okay, and then after we've done that, then player 1 and we're going to call that display method. Whoops, display stats it was. Okay. Okay, we're all done. That's our program. Let's see if this runs okay. And at the end of this, I'm going to do, I need to put a console read key, read line, read key. Okay, and that's it. I'm going to go ahead and run this. Debug, start debugging. Okay, and it did what we told it to. It says hello from constructor, so it entered the constructor on that class, and then we set in that class, we set it up so that, I'll go ahead and stop this now, and it says name, some player, which is what we put there, jersey 7, goals 5. Okay, so let's see what we did. So we created an object out of the hockey class, and then once we did that, we had access to all of those public methods and properties that we created in there. One of them is, oops, one of them is, so here's the default constructor, which didn't do anything other than just say hello. And then we have these properties where we can set the player's name, or we can get the player's name, or we can set the player's name. Either one. Get and set the jersey number. We can get or set the goals scored. So we can set any of those values, or we can retrieve any of those values. And in this case, when our program ran, we set the name, we set the jersey number, and we set the goals scored. And then in the display stats method, we went and retrieved those values. We retrieved the player name, the jersey number, and the goals scored. So it should say the name is blank, the name is the jersey number, and the goals scored. Okay, that's it. Stop.